Hello from Davos. It's a very unusual setting this time around, but it's great to be back here after 2 years in this Swiss mountain town. As you can see, the background is green. It's springtime and not the usual snow here in the Swiss Alps, but it also meant that we could really travel light and pack sandals instead of snow boots. Now, the organizers of the WEF, they have postponed the event from January to now, May, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Omicron variant outbreak as well. The topic of the World Economic Forum this time around is history at a turning point, government policies and business strategies, and some 2,500 leaders from the world of business, politics, civil society and the media are gathering now here in the event, which lasts until Thursday. But of course, we have big shots which are not attending this time around. For example, the Chinese President Xi Jinping or the US President Joe Biden are absent this time around. But today is the first day of the WEF, the kickoff, and we will have an opening remark by the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at 11:15 local time in about 45 minutes from now. Other topics during the WEF will include the food crisis, climate change, and also healthcare. But of course, the Ukraine conflict is topping the agenda. To talk to me more about the WEF and technology, I'm now joined by Sebastian Buchup. He is the head of network and partnerships at the WEF and also a member of the executive committee. Great to have you here, Sebastian.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
First of all, regarding the list of the 100 tech pioneers from 30 countries, which are some of the goals that you had in mind with this important list?
Well, first of all, many of the leaders gathering here are calling for technology to help them address some of the big challenges that you highlighted. And this call is indeed answered by about 100 entrepreneurs who we are bringing here. Some of them early stage, just taking technology out of the labs, and some of them really high growth companies with a 1 billion valuation or more. And we are bringing them here to address topics such as decarbonization, climate change, the food crisis, getting away from fossil fuels. So we are really building on their ingenuity, their innovation to move some of the conversations, but also some of the topics forward.
How are you hoping that they will shape business, and what kind of solutions should they provide? What kind of impact are you hoping that they will make?
Some of those tech pioneers, this may be interesting to note, are now, or prior tech pioneers are now strategic partners of the World Economic Forum. Google came many years ago as a tech pioneer to us, Salesforce, Wikipedia and others. So to some extent we are looking at them really as future leaders. And we want to engage with them early because we want to make sure they are responsible leaders. But then again, there are certain big challenges that we need to address going forward. Decarbonization is one. Some of these tech pioneers help us with ESG metrics. They help us make sure that companies actually stick to their ESG promises. But they also do things like carbon capture. They are working on things like alternative proteins. We do have a big unicorn company working on 4th generation nuclear technology. So we want them to contribute actively. We want them to show the way to some extent, and we want them to really open up new possibilities for leaders to address these challenges.
You're also heading up the Center of the Fourth Industrial Revolution at the World Economic Forum, and they really have a lot of insight. Now, there are so many trends from artificial intelligence to food technology and lots of climate change innovations as well. Which do you see as some of the most significant trends now going forward?
One big trend that is around for some time, but that continues to be important, is digitization of industries, of course. A couple of years ago, we talked about AI as a technology. Now we are talking about AI in the context of manufacturing, in the context of building management, in the context of healthcare challenges. Digitization is a major trend. Another major trend is what I said before, decarbonization. A significant number of the tech pioneers we are bringing are working on those challenges. And it's, of course, a key aspect. And we have a major coalition here that's being front and center It's called the First Movers Coalition, where we try, even in sectors that are really difficult, like transportation, to really bring down fossil fuels, bring down carbon emissions. And the last trend I would highlight is decentralization. Technologies such as blockchain, cryptocurrencies, digital assets are really becoming mainstream. Of course, we see a lot of up and down in that space, but also what we're seeing is that blockchain is introduced in areas such as supply chains, and of course the metaverse, which is also a big topic here. So digitization, decarbonization, decentralization would be three trends to highlight.
China, of course, has become a global leader in technology and AI as well, thanks also to government policies like, for example, Made in China 2025. What can the rest of the world learn from China, do you think?
China has been, over the past year, been a key innovator. You highlighted supportive government policies are important, and talking to entrepreneurs here, this is something that they want to see more of in other parts of the world as well. Another aspect is really the collaboration between academia and industry to move technology or science discoveries faster out of the labs into the market. And there's one thing that is very difficult to learn from China. China is a huge market, a very speedy, dynamic, huge market, and that's, of course, also supporting. We're really proud to have more than a dozen of tech pioneers from China in our program. They are addressing major challenges. They're using, for instance, artificial intelligence to accelerate clinical research. We have one company that's all about electrifying the construction industry, which is a major carbon emitter. And we do, of course, have also companies that work on the metaverse and things like that. So we have a very strong cohort of Chinese entrepreneurs here, and we hope that they will, or in the program at least, unfortunately not many of them here, and we hope that they will be very active contributors to the community.
Thank you so much. That's all we have time for. Unfortunately, Sebastian, we could talk for ages about technology. Now, upcoming today, we also have a welcoming address by the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. And also something to watch out and look out for is an address, a special address by the Secretary General of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg. But this is all from us here for this show from Springtime Davos. Back to you in the studio.